I don't think no, it's not too loud. I don't think so. So anyway, let's get into it. The sentencing has came down. Um, uh, I am befuddled and gagged. Let's check this out and see what's going on.
There is the sentence.
What's your reaction?
There's the sentence. Wow. Again, I'm coming from a unique perspective. I was a prosecutor. I have prosecuted people that have killed people, that have harmed children, that have harmed babies. I have defended people that have killed multiple people. I have a death penalty case that I'm a part of right now, and I will tell you. In my 17 years, I think these set of facts, a jury coming to the conclusion that 35 years in prison is an appropriate sentence, is quite incredible. It's quite incredible. I'm slightly blown away. I will tell you that it's important that we always remember here in Texas that you have a range of punishment. The range of punishment for a murder conviction is anywhere from 5 years to 99 years or life. And regardless of the sentence that you receive, in the state of Texas, you are required to serve half of your sentence or
Wow.
30 years, whichever is less.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular instance, he's sentenced to 35 years. Before he becomes eligible for parole, he will have to serve half of that sentence. What is that, 16 and a half years, 17 and a half years?
Roughly 17 and a half.
Before.
Yeah.
And that may very well have been the age of Austin Metcalf when this happened in 2025.
I think that
17 and a
I
half.
think you're right about that, Sean.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm actually surprised differently. I again felt like it was going to be longer. I just did, based on, I know Bill Worski was asking.
What he called for.
Yeah, he didn't give them a number. He didn't assign a number in his closing statements in the punishment phase, but he impressed on them that it should be lengthy, that it should be long, that we have to send a message of we're not going to tolerate senseless violence in our community. He talked to those jurors about them coming together as a community to do the right thing, to serve justice. He put on those jurors the idea that they were upholding the standard for the community. And so I thought it might be longer. I hope we get to hear from the jury foreman or one
Say
of the
the end
jurors
is
at
near.
some point to know what they were thinking, what they went through in that moment.
I just think I think 35 years is just, this whole thing is astonishing. This whole entire thing, 35 years, man. That's crazy.
Moment. So I guess the word is now spreading to those outside of the courthouse.
It does look like people are looking somber. They're looking very,
Yeah.
very astonished.
Those are some
Wow.
folks
Are we
leaving
seeing-
the courtroom.
hmm
I have no idea who those
No.
people are. I don't believe they're any active part of what we're experiencing here. This could very well be some media. Again, there are media from everywhere in McKinney
hmm
for this.
Yes. I mean, it hit obviously the national news. And I just want to make one comment about one of the things that jurors are instructed to do as it relates to assessing punishment. Obviously, it's a standard prosecution argument in punishment to say, this is our community, sort of don't stand for senseless violence or whatever it is in our community. This is where we live and all that. Send a message to, this defendant and the community at large and all that kind of stuff. And that's a standard prosecution argument. But the other thing that that a jury is also told is during those jury instructions, when they're being read to the jury, they are told that they cannot consider, they can understand the existence of parole law, but they cannot consider it as they contemplate an appropriate sentence. So in other words, you know, it's interesting to me that it's 35 years and that half of that, which is what he would be required to serve before he's eligible for parole, is about 17 and a half years, and that is likely the age, right, that Mr. Metcalf was when he passed away.
I think
and
so.
I wonder whether or not that jury, even though they were instructed, they may have taken that into consideration.
I certainly think that's a possibility of the age piece. To me, it seems to be, I seem to recall he was that age, 17 for sure, and perhaps very close to 17 and a half. That's why we hope to hear from the jurors. There seems to be some commotion here outside, and we see several sheriff's department vehicles and a crowd there. We
Are
don't
they
see,
reacting to this? Is someone speaking about this?
yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, wait a
Apparently,
minute.
phones are up. Somebody must
Yeah,
be
someone
speaking
is talking.
Mhm.
at this
Who
moment.
is it though?
We can't see who that
It's
person
difficult to see.
Mm.
is. These extemporaneous moments that happen at these kinds of as information comes forward.
I've got an idea for a business online, and I'll use Wix Harmony to make the website. Any site you can imagine.
All right, we
And so at this moment, what's happening as you are the attorney, Bree West, first tell us, as the defense attorney, you're talking to your client and their family, or you're preparing to meet the media, or what? Go ahead, Clarice.
Yeah, we see that woman in pink. She's the one who's
Okay.
speaking, yeah, that they're listening to and recording. Okay.
Oh, and I will say that I've seen her. She's been at the court a number of days. She certainly was there when I was there. So I don't know if she is someone that was one of the first ones to come out after the verdict was read and is perhaps delivering some of the information.
35 years, y'all.
But yes, Sean, as it relates to
35
where
years.
things are right now, this is a devastating blow to a defense team, right? This is probably not what they would have expected, certainly not what they were arguing for. And so this family and your client are, were hit with a huge sentence. And so you are spending time with them. They are your priority. His mom, his dad, and certainly Karmelo Anthony as your client. That is your priority. That is who you're talking to. You're also talking about what are the next steps, right? Because obviously punishment is imposed. He's serving he will begin serving his sentence right now. But at the same time, there are steps after this, right? We have to file a motion for new trial to make sure that if there's anything that we can capture during the course of this trial that was done wrong, we can preserve that error. We have to file our notice of appeal because
Right.
if there are things to appeal, we have a time frame under which we want the courts to know that that's what our intention is. And so you're having a discussion about what are our next steps, and you're obviously encouraging your client. And I've been in this position before. I've been doing defense work for a number of years. You're also encouraging your client not to give up hope, right? That there is hope still. They have to keep their head up, that this is not over, and that you have to keep pressing forward.
Okay, now put your prosecutor hat back on, because what are you saying now to the family of your victim?
So now what you're saying to your family of your victim is, this was a great verdict. This is justice. Your son, sort of his life was meaningful to our community. They sent a message to say that this type of engagement or this type of interaction between young people is never allowed. And they sent a message. And I think that you're, sort of not celebrating with your victim's family, but you're certainly saying to them, that this was a good thing. And I would imagine that Austin Metcalf's family is, they're in the process of sort of thanking, the prosecution, the district attorney's office, for putting on a good case and getting a verdict that was so significant.
Bree, what about the jury? Where are they now? What could be happening to them right now? Who could be talking to them right now?
Generally generally what you see is that once a jury reaches its verdict, they're obviously released from all of the rules, right? They're released. They can talk about the case openly now. They can talk to each other. And generally, you're going to have the judge that's going to go back and talk to them privately first, right? To say, okay, thank you for your service. You're released from everything. And then usually, and I can't speak specifically for Judge Roach, but usually the judges say, you are now free to talk to whomever you want, and that includes the lawyers. And sometimes the lawyers would like to come back and talk to you to ask you kind of what did you think? Why did you arrive at your decision? What were the things that that were highlighted for you? But the judge is also going to tell them that they don't have to talk to anyone. And so for the jurors that don't want to speak to anybody, which usually is a lot of them, right? They would be escorted. I know that there's like a sort of a bat cave thing that the jurors come through to make sure that they're safe as they're coming and going from court. So I would imagine that for those that don't want to talk to anybody, that's probably what they're doing. But usually you have a very brief conversation just with the judge. You can ask questions. You can get clarity on things, and then you're open to talk to the lawyers if you want to, and if not, then you're free to go.
And if there's something that's emotionally traumatic for them, are services available for jury members if they feel they need that?
Services.
Yes, most jurisdictions are going to offer, sort of counseling services, or not counseling services, but resources to counseling services. If this is, sort of had a gigantic impact on your life, if you are experiencing some sort of mental health concerns, most jurisdictions are going to at least connect you with services, because jury service is not meant to be traumatic. Sometimes you do have to sit and listen to traumatic things, but it's not meant to be traumatic on your life. And so I think courts have really recognized that they don't want that for jurors. They want people to continue to come back for jury service. And so they do offer things like that. And so that would be part of the discussion that the jurors would be having with the judge. That's separate from anything that the lawyers, would be a part of. Now, often I have had situations where jurors have said, this was so hard, do you, sort of defense attorney, have any advice for us on how we process this? And so there are discussions like that can happen, but the actual, resources and things like that will come from not only the district attorney's office, but, Collin County generally.
Okay, hold on for 1 sec, Bree. We're going to bring in Amelia Clarice.
Yeah, Amelia Jones outside the courthouse. Amelia, tell us what you're seeing, what you're hearing now that the punishment phase has come in 35 years.
Hi there, Clarice. Yeah, when that sentence came down, I did hear several people scream out 35 years, just as they were reacting to getting the news. We do hear some preaching over to my left here on a loudspeaker.
I don't mean,
but then I believe
this is not anyway or near or simultaneously trying to be funny, but just to say this because it's on my heart. Hold on. Oh, what no problems over here. But when that woman just said, when she said that she said it was just screaming that just broke out, black people, I know we gonna act black. I know we gonna act black. And I know when she just said that, personally, I know they went to acting black. I know they went to acting black. 35 years. She said that's all she heard was 35 years. I know that's all she heard. I know she was just like, oh my God, It's still it's tragedy. It's tragedy. But it's strategy as well. Let's get back into this.
people got out of their cars, kind of rushed down here and started gathering in this large crowd. And hopefully we'll have a chance to speak to some people one-on-one and just kind of see a little bit of what they think. I know I heard you all mentioned Sean saying something about how he was a little surprised, and then Bree sharing her comments as well. So just I'm going to talk to some folks out here, hopefully one-on-one, like I said, and see how they are feeling about it. But initial reaction out here, Clarice and Sean, was some people upset. That's for sure. We're seeing this large group disperse, but I will say we haven't seen any clashes like we did at 6:30. The man who was arrested here at the courthouse was walking through my live shot, and we haven't seen any clashes right now. But of course, we will keep you updated on what we are seeing. With that, I will send it.
All right. So now we know right now that the news is in that they gave Carmelo Anthony 35 years. Um that is tragic in itself. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. But I did want to keep just the this audience kind of up to date on what's going on with the case. Um it is so much to say and so much to unpack that I don't think I possibly could, because it's just I'm like Love Jones. She say she be saying what she say. She said it gets to a point, and it gets to a point. Let's go over to let's go take a ride. Let's go over here to the talk streets. Oh yeah, yeah. While I'm in it, y'all. Hold on. Let me go and do some right quick. Yeah, but 35 years. What do you think about that? Ain't that crazy? 35 years. I thought they was gonna do give him like manslaughter and end up giving him like um 5 or 10 or something like that. But I don't know. You know, you just be like over stuff sometimes. That's kind of like where I'm at just a little bit with it. Just a little bit with that. Sure is. Just a little bit with that. Hold on, y'all. Oh shit. Okay, I did it. I did it. My bad. I was like, what I just pressed? Oh, and shout out to um everybody who's been actually keeping up with this case lately and stuff like that. And also shout out to Nikki at Night. She has been doing really good. I think Queen Sheba and the other person, all of y'all has been covering this case. You know what I'm saying? They went out there to Texas. I lived in Texas for 10 years, and in Houston, and being in Harris County, and being a decade there, I am technically a Houstonian, and now I live in DC, and it's just like, um people just keep, I hear people saying, well, Texas is so it's so, it's racist and this and that, and it not all of Texas. I think Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Texas very nice. A lot of parts of it, and but truth be told, you still have the hills that have eyes and the sundown parts. You still have those parts, and what you still have in those parts, you just got to kind of be aware of where you're at. I cannot remember the town name, but it was going out towards not Sugarland, I think towards Alvin somewhere, or think whatever. And you couldn't, if you go down this certain road, you couldn't be there after a certain time, you know. And that was just, the last couple of years. So knowing for a fact how it is, and what goes on, um, you know, this situation is just, it hits in so many fucking different ways. It just hits in different ways. But anyway, yeah, but shout out to everybody that's been covering the case, and trying their best to keep up with it, and just being neutral and not being idiots and not being harassing, and understanding where the black community is coming from, especially right now when we had the whole Rick Child thing that just actually happened like a week ago. So you know what I'm saying? To have to get to Rick Child to get off, and then on top of it, this right here, you know, that's a lot of hits. And I think I think just speaking, being a black person, um, FBA, you know, my my lineage goes back to the lanes of Lanceville. You know, it just says like so much of how much more work we have to do, and how we need to strategize. But I don't think destroying, retaliating, cussing them out, you know, fighting, because a lot of the times when you go out here and in those rural lands, you got to understand some of the time we living in. Some of these YT folks are some of these YT folks, okay, even they will tell you, okay, they is out here in these rural lands, in these forests out here preparing themselves, going, they doing whatever, and they are wanting a whole rate, race, you know what I'm saying, W, you know what I'm saying, they want that, and they itch for it at times, you know what I'm saying. And it's not all of them, but you have a very, you cannot deny that, I know for a fact, you know, like, you know, Chud the Builder type of guy, you have those. And um I know that it is a lot of you know, white people that that don't like it, you know what I'm saying. I mean, especially actually people who are actually about that life, they really don't like Chug the Builder them or like stuff, because you know, you bring too much light to it, you know. They racism is subtle, you know. It's kind of, you know, friendly, you know, kind of like a snake that's gonna bite you, eat you, use you, spit you back out, you know, might even rebirth you and then make you peel my shield, that type of stuff, you know. And you know, it's just something to be aware of. You know, I was telling one of my best friends, and you know, with her being white, you know, she hates the shit, and you know, and it just gives thought to, you know, knowing where you are. And also I heard Miss Sherelle, I was watching Sherelle's World earlier. I was trying to see what she back on live, because I was enjoying watching her live. I'm gonna go back and check here in a second, but I was watching Miss Sheree's World, and she was saying, because you know, when the news first came out earlier, and it came back that he was guilty, I was just, I was downstairs in the living room, and I was like, man, you know, I mean, man, mhm. I was livid too, because it's like, you know, but I'm gonna save that for um my other page. You know, you're gonna be able to hear that here in a little while. I'm gonna go live, and it's called you know, Black Like That. You can come over there and watch that. So the clean version is here. So let's go over some of the things that's going on. One second. Let's go over some of the stuff going on. Over here on the talk streets. Alrighty. Let's go and check this out, and let's see what's going on over here. Let's see what they're talking about. Let's see what's going on. Let's look at some of the conversations. Let's go.
Everybody, you got 10 witnesses that seen you do exactly the shit. They all said
Yeah,
stuff against you.
yeah, there wasn't really a defense, honestly.
Miss Mo,
Let me hold on 1 second, y'all. Want to read victim impact statement. This is from I'm gonna start at the most recent. Okay, this is their father. He said, from the first day he grabbed my finger, he had my heart with it.
Oh my gosh.
Recalling his first, recalling his first fish, first buck, watching him grow up through the years went way too fast. He said, adding that, I'm sorry. He said, I truly believe you had a great career ahead of you. Your intensity on the field showed the leader you were. Your teammates looked up to you. So people know what it's like to be a leader. Oh, sorry. He said, Jeff said he started a scholarship in memory of Austin so people know what it's like to be a leader. The saddest part is we don't get to see you achieve all of your goals. We were robbed. Jeff continued, he telling Anthony to not look down. He said, the public response sickens me. When people want to tear down my son's memory and I have to be quiet. He told Anthony not to look down. Okay. So now his mother. From the moment my boys were born, they were my world. Now my house is quiet. Tears fall. Austin's laughter would fill the room. Seeing my twin lose the most important person in his life crushes him as a mother. Going into an empty room, empty bed, and once again remembering Austin is dead. Austin always had a way of bringing people together. He was a peacemaker. I miss talking to him. Now my conversations with him are one-sided, sitting at his grave. She had to accept, instead of walking beside me, her son, instead of walking beside me, Austin is walking above her. My son was murdered. He didn't just die, she said. She's the hardest part of living with loss every day. And she said to Karmelo, you should feel lucky because I've been sentenced to a lifetime without my son. Hunter came in, and Hunter finally showed up because Hunter didn't show up at all, y'all, this entire time. What I've been doing in this last year is trying to learn how to forgive. I have been choosing God and trying to understand why he had to go. You took a son, a brother, a friend, my best friend from this world. You took someone away from me who was supposed to be an uncle to my kid. Now I want everything taken from you.
Ooh, shoot. That's terrible.
I want you to think every day in your cell about what you did. You let the devil take over that moment. Eventually your name will be forgotten, but my brother's memory will live on. He looked at Karmelo and said, you are a very shallow man for what you did. You took everything from me. They took Karmelo from the room. And what was it done?
That's terrible. That's terrible. And his parents were not there for him in that moment. That's terrible. That's terrible.
Unfortunately, I'm not
But
surprised.
Didn't I tell you that it was going to be the family? Didn't I tell you that? Didn't I say that?
So did
That
they
he didn't
leave?
show any remorse. That he didn't show any remorse. That was going to get him.
Did they leave early, Stan? Like, why they ain't there? What's up?
I think it's more just what actually happened is what got him.
I don't know. It's not saying if they ended up making it in there before the impact statements because the sentencing was given before the impact statements.
It's the fact that he took their son and tried to claim self-defense. So if it's self-defense, that means that you did not mean to do it. You felt like you feared for your life. You felt like you had to do this and you didn't mean to. So you should be sorry, right? I didn't mean to take this person from you, and you should be sorry. And he should have showed some kind of sympathy to the family, empathy to that brother who lost his twin. But he said nothing to them. And instead, his mother, that grifter that they had, his father, they drug the victim's family through the mud and painted them as racist. So, I mean, that doesn't bode well with the jury, right? And this family is going to be a part of when he comes up for parole. So he gonna have to dig deep. Yes, if you are a victim and there's somebody in prison, when you get ready to come up for parole, they notify you to let you know, and you can go to the parole board and tell them why you think this person shouldn't be released.
Yeah, and you know who's gonna be sitting there? Hunter.
Yes.
And there's no way he better post deep and hope that there's forgiveness down the road.
I've been saying this for the longest. It's the remorse. He got to show remorse.
My problem is, y'all, he still ain't made no statement.
Of course not. He don't care.
Yeah,
Well, I don't even think
that's
his
crazy.
attorney will let him make a statement. Like,
Well, it's over now.
I mean, his
Generally, they ask you before everything, before your sentence, or it's either right before they read the sentence to you, or right after. They give you an opportunity to say something to the court, to the family, to the jury. Yeah, you get to say something, and he ain't said nothing.
Well, I appreciate the Let's Be Honest show. We got to actually hear the impact statements. If you get to hear that was actually good to hear. So yeah, I get that side of it too. I get that, you know. But you know, I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. Let me go to this. Okay, so let's check this out.
Just looking at this Karmelo Anthony verdict, I'm not shocked. You're not shocked. Being black in America, we're no longer shocked by much of anything. Our shock turned into anger a long time ago. And that anger turned into resilience. Then we got smarter and wiser. And we realized our resilience is our superpower. And I don't know about y'all, but I realized a long time ago just the color of my skin is a superpower itself. Just because my skin is so black and so motherfucking beautiful, I can make you lose all self-control. And make you so angry where you want to put your hands on me. You want to harm me. You can't talk to me like a human being. Because this black ass, beautiful ass skin threatens you so bad. I'm not shocked. I would have been shocked if those two big ass white boys would have treated that 130-pound black boy like a human being. Your family missing you because you couldn't keep your hands to yourself because you feel like that boy better listen to me. I'm not shocked that people saying, well, why I gotta be about race? Motherfuckers always about race. The fact that this son just came out and kissing my skin so motherfucking good, that's what angers so many of y'all. God made me perfectly. God made sure that son kissed my motherfucking skin. And although I'm not shocked about this verdict, whoever think that this is the right verdict for Karmelo Anthony, you can kiss my motherfucking ass just like this son kissing my beautiful black ass skin.
Just gave Karmelo.
Yeah, so as you can hear amongst the definitely amongst the black community as well, it's a lot of different self opinions, as you can see. Wild. Let's go. Let's see what this is.
Anthony, 35 years. 35 years. I'm just gonna go in parent mode. This is a lose-lose situation for the both of them. I completely understand everybody is emotional right now. Y'all should be. I'm not gonna get on this internet and act like Karmelo Anthony, he's innocent because he did unalive somebody, even though he was defending himself. That's why I say it's a lose-lose situation. Do I think he should have got 35 years? Hell no. That's why I said they could have gave him at least manslaughter. But we not gonna sit on the internet and act like it's not still racist people out here in this world, black and white, that don't want to change their ways, they're stuck in their ways. And the justice system just fucked up all over. A lot of people saying this ain't got nothing to do with black and white. And to be honest with y'all, a lot of it do. I'm just being grown about the situation because it's a lot of grown people that acting like kids right now. I don't know the Metcalf twins. I don't know Karmelo Anthony. But if I had to look into this case, I'll look at both of them like a little brother. Hey, y'all chill out. Y'all doing too much, man. Shake hands and keep going. Because a lot of shit really ain't that damn deep. A lot of things in life you just can walk away from. And this go for both sides. Not just Karmelo, but the Metcalf twins too. One thing my grandma told me before she died, she always told me, "Bug, think before you react." That one line right there will take you through life real easy. It's true. If you just take a second, take a moment and just think before you just start going crazy and reacting wild. If them twins would have thought about their actions before they went over there and started fucking with Karmelo Anthony.
That's something I heard somebody say earlier. We have to teach our children, the newer generation, we got to teach them, to always think before you act.
Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison. It did not say that he would not be eligible for parole, but parole doesn't come just because you want. There's a lot of things that fall into factor. I'm thanking God that he did not get life. Like he's gonna be out, hopefully serving half or maybe a third of that time. Now, Karmelo Anthony's mother did testify. The prosecution chose not to call any witnesses except for her, Kayla Hayes. She said, "He's my oldest son. He's my firstborn. He will always be my baby. I love him very much." For anybody saying that he deserved what he got, there have been a lot of people who are not black that have unalived us and walked away. Kyle Rittenhouse traveled across state lines just to harm people. George Zimmerman, he got off too. Hell, last week, Rick Chow. Which just goes to show that just because we're not in chains doesn't mean we're still not hunted. I said I wasn't going to post anymore today, but I needed to finish this out. For anybody feeling like I feel like tired and just upset and I don't know, just take some time off the internet. There are a lot of people out here that really do hate black people, and they are celebrating a young man going to jail for protecting himself.
There's a reporter that was reporting at the courthouse where Karmelo Anthony's case was happening today. They released the verdict. She was talking about the racial tension around the case, and she decided to say that they needed to address a big gorilla in the room. Now, let me tell you something. I've never heard that phrase include anything other than elephant, and definitely not gorilla. And I think it is a really interesting choice to use that word in this particular instance where we're talking about a racial dynamic and racism centered around black people that have had that word used directed at us in a very racist way to dehumanize us. That is something that is crazy to say on air. And I have called this out on Threads. So if you follow me on Threads, you already heard this. But I'm telling you, this is something that I cannot just let fly. Okay? There are people that are hurting right now because of that case across the board. Every single person in that case is going through it right now. And adding to that by saying a comment like that is crazy.
Let's talk a little bit about the big gorilla in the room, so to speak, was the fact that there were people out here on both sides shouting racial slurs at one another. But it was very clear that the prosecution and the defense did not want this to be about race, and they said it wasn't about race. And you could tell by some of the witnesses that were also called by the prosecution. So let's talk a little bit about that. They did have a lot of...
I watched that coverage and I sat and listened to the many microaggressions that she threw out the entire time she was covering it. One of the things she said was, hey, there's a lot of people here that don't appear to live in this county. Collin County is where this case was happening. This Collin County is 62% white. How else would you know if they lived there or not? She said they were using race to bait people. It was part of their agenda. There's things that she was saying. I'll include the clips.
Really wanted one side or the other wanted to be the people that claimed, I guess, victory. But again, we did have a lot of people. I saw a lot of them out here that were not from this county, that were not from this state, that came in simply to poke the bear, so to speak. They had an agenda, and they were going to use race as baiting people. They were actually cussing and slurring at one another on both sides. There were other people from the community that were here, and they were praying. And they were like, please, everybody stay calm. We're going to let the legal process work. Let's not make this worse than the situation already is with two families, both distraught.
Now, here's the thing, right? The reason I'm bringing this up is not for you all to harass or do not do that. I'm so serious. Do not do that. Okay? I know people like to call employers. If you want to do that, whatever. But when it comes to like people's personal information and stuff, that's not what this is. Okay? But what I do need you all to understand that don't understand this issue is that Black people can be going through it. Okay? Because there's a lot of problems with this case. And you are going to probably continue to hear about it. And it is not, like I said, everyone involved. This is a tragic thing that has happened, okay? Just in general. But there is racism playing into how this case has played out. And because of that, there's already the nerve hit with this for Black people. But there are people that intentionally choose to make it worse. That's the reason why I'm bringing this up. There's a way that people that see the things that Black people are going through, see the ways that we don't stifle the ways that we are experiencing things. When we experience harm, we don't keep it to ourselves. We make it known. We know that we deserve better. We advocate for ourselves, and that seems to offend a lot of people. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think you all need to understand that people don't be making this shit up. And the reason I'm particularly bringing it up with Rebecca is because I do not want this to fly under the radar. But that is why I'm saying do not go and dox her or anything like that, because that's not what the purpose of this is. I need you all to know that people will blatantly do stuff like this, broadcast live. Because of that internalized racism right there, there is no reason that should have been a thing. The only thing, at best, this was unconscious bias in a really bad moment to forget what that phrase is. At worst, it's a lot more than that. You are meant to cover the news. You are not meant to exacerbate the harm that people are experiencing.
All right. Well, there we have it. Well, all right. Let me know what you think. And we are out of here. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah. Hit like and subscribe. I am Tank, and I am out.